welcome to Moments with Melonie. I am Dr. Melonie Boone, and in this episode, I want to take some time. I have, as if you've been watching videos and following me, relaunched Boone Management Group, which, I kind of took the leap of faith after moving to Rhode Island and working in a COO role for a year of really kind of reevaluating where I'm at, where I want to be, and what passionately drives me, and that is being a founder and having this vision of how we can help organizations and leaders really succeed in like that small to mid-market and capitalize on the expertise of business psychologists and all of these other tools that larger companies are able to leverage to really have a competitive advantage. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is around the psychology of risk taking and how to bet on yourself. And so before I decided to do this, I was speaking with someone and they were like, oh, but you've got a good job, you've got benefits, it's a great organization, it's a great mission. Why would you want to give all of that up? Are you sure you can do it? And it's so funny that, you'll find some really positive people who are willing to lift you up, be your cheerleaders. My husband, my sisters, a lot of my friends are like, sign me up. How can we help? But then there are always going to be a few of those individuals. And one of the things that came out before I even caught myself was I will always bet on myself any day of the week because I know my work ethic. I believe in my ability to accomplish amazing things. I am super confident about, my skills, my experience, nearly 30 years of working across almost every aspect of business and 4 degrees, and I'm a 6 Sigma black belt and all of these things, Hogan certified. I can go on and on, right? And so I'm I am confident that I can make this work. And then I got even bolder and I was like, not only am I going to make this work, but I want to make $1 million in our first 12 months. And I'm going to do everything it takes to be able to make that happen as well. And, when you think about that and the person was really kind of quiet for a minute and, they made a comment your confidence scares me. And I was like, really? That's very interesting. And I'm reminded that I have always been super confident. And part of it comes from when I was little, I was teased and bullied to no end. So I remember, I think it was maybe 3rd grade, I ended up getting all of my hair cut off. I'm super old, so I had a curl. Everybody knows kind of what a jerry curl is, maybe or maybe not. And I went back to school and one of the boys in the class looked at me and was like, oh, I didn't know we had a new boy starting today. And everyone laughed and it was a whole thing. And then I, had instances where I actually was slapped on this is so crazy. I've never talked about this, but I was actually slapped on the playground by this boy and my glasses flew off my face. And so every time people saw me, they would do this, their glasses are flying off their face and they would laugh at me. And, it was kind of really miserable for many years. And the one thing I had was my middle sister, December, who was only 2 years older than me, who would fight all of my battles. I was this little small, skinny, nerdy lady with super thick glasses. And all I cared about was my bucket, reading my books so I could get my free Pizza Hut pizza and all of that kind of stuff. And my sister used to always tell me how great I am and how, including her fighting my battles. That was always good too, because whenever somebody did something to me, she would go and make it right. I won't tell you how. But just the confidence that she built in me of always telling me that I am special and different and that sometimes people are not going to understand me. If I would come home crying, she would make me stop crying and she would talk about the reasons why I need why I'm different, what's the special pieces of me. Am I, when you're in the thick of that, it's very hard to say, oh yeah, I'm great, I'm special, I just got slapped on the playground, or this guy or this girl is bullying me and told everybody to stop talking to me. Literally in 6th grade, there was a lady who will remain nameless, but I still remember her name and her face, who was the super, super cool girl. And she told everyone to stop talking to me. And so for almost a year, I had one friend who talked to me, and that was it. And she was like my best friend. And like going through that, I think as a young person, but then like you got that on the one side, but then on the other side, like you have your sister, your mom, like everybody really encouraging you and helping you to get through that. It developed a different core for me, I guess you could call it. Like it gave me the confidence to say, okay, not everybody's gonna like me, and that's okay. That's their problem, not mine. But I am damn sure gonna like myself. And I struggle with that too. Like it took me a while to like myself, and you know, I got a big head, and so you got people talking about that. That's why I keep my bangs down, and you know, all of these types of things that can like really either shape you for the good or the bad. And I think like when I was in the moment having that conversation with the person, and you know, she was saying that my confidence like scares her and probably scares other people, it really took me back to that and like why I have this confidence and why I am built the way that I am. And so when you think about the psychology of risk taking, a lot of people don't take the risk because of the fear, right? And they want to play it safe. You know, every success that you see requires some leap of faith, big, small. It really just requires you to face that fear. But then we also need to make sure that we're not like completely jumping into the deep end. And so what I want to explore in this episode is why we fear risk, why like betting on yourself is always the best investment. And I will stand by that. And I think that even in the failures and the big mistakes, I don't regret any career moves I've made. Like you can wallow in so many things. Like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why couldn't I have? Why shouldn't I have? And that just brings you down. But you know, so now I'm gonna get nerdy for a minute. But our brains are wired for safety. Amygdala, which controls fear, triggers a fight or flight response when we face uncertainty. And I think we all know that, but when we think about fight or flight, we think about like the danger, or when there's like the mass shooter training, or like these big events that will kick in fight or flight. But the reality is uncertainty at any level could kick in fight or flight. So we might have uncertainty at work. We think we're going to get laid off because of X, Y, and Z, or we think we're going to get fired. Some of us will just go look for another job and say like, screw it, I don't have to deal with this. Other people will want to fight for their job. Some people will want to fight to get out of the job. And so they'll do whatever they can, and they'll make really smart moves versus taking like the first thing that comes along. But you know, this is why we stay in jobs that we don't love, to be quite honest. Like avoiding asking for what we deserve is another kind of flight mechanism. Hesitating to start new things is another, you know, kind of mechanism that we use. Like you can see it and you may have like the really great idea. I'm working with a startup now who is trying to open a coffee roastery here in Rhode Island. And, you know, when we talk, there's a lot of things, and it's like, how do I get the money? How do I do this? How do I do that? And, you know, I redirect, like, let's build the business and let's look at the money options and the investment options, but don't let that derail you or stop you from pursuing your dream, because at this point you don't even know what things are going to cost you. You don't know, like you have some funding options, some private funding options that you can look at, but like before we put the cart before the horse, or before, you know, people have told him you can't do this, right? Like you've never done anything in coffee before, you've never blah blah blah, you don't have the money, you don't have the experience. But you know, I go back to, are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you willing to go out and get the knowledge that you need, to get the funding, and like work relentlessly until you serve your first cup of coffee, and then until you serve your millionth cup of coffee? Helping people see that growth typically happens when you are outside of your comfort zone. So you can sit in something that makes you feel miserable, but it's comfortable, and you're not going to grow. Like you may make these little steps here and there, but to truly grow, like you've got to step outside your comfort zone. I think people say like, if you're not uncomfortable, it's not worth it, or whatever that saying is. but it's really true. And so when you think about, like, you can call them smart risks, you can call them calculated risks. You know, before I relaunched Boone Management Group, I did tons of research, and I had to accelerate it because it was like, I was just ready to go and ready to do it. But I did research into the market here in the 3 states that are closest to me. What's the framework of businesses? Do they align with the experience and the services that we offer? And that's just here in the Northeast or the New England area. There's like all those other states that, you know, we can look at, but we're trying to like really focus. And then I looked at like, what would my referral network be? Who are those partners that I can work with? How can I help others build their business through complementary services and partnerships? And then I said, I'm not going to do it by myself. So I started talking to people like, hey, I'm trying to build this thing. Would you be interested in building it with me? So like the risk that I'm taking with Boone Management Group, yes, it's a risk. And yes, you know, we've got to feed kids and pay for college and, you know, do all of those things. And then my lovely habits around my husband's sneakers and all of my facial creams. Like all of those things are super important, and we want to give back to the community, and I just want to be a part of something greater. And so staying within an organization is the safe thing for me to do, but it actually wasn't the thing that felt right in my heart and my soul. And like Boone Management Group did. And so, you know, when you are looking at how to make these smart risks or calculated risks, you're going to ask yourself a few things, right? So what's the worst that can happen? Unfortunately, with this question, my mind can take me from happy to homeless in like 10 seconds. It's just the way my brain is wired. And so I have to also remind myself that, you know, what can really, really happen, right? Like what's the worst that can really happen? It doesn't work and I go get a job, right? Like that's the worst that can really happen. But I've positioned myself with the skills to be able to go out and work, right? Or Boone Management Group may not work, but then my husband's cigar shop, we open that and that works. Or I reopen Blue Havana Clothing, or I, you know, work harder with Beyond Studios Publishing, which is my own publishing company. So as you're thinking about what's the worst that can happen, give yourself a couple of scenarios of the worst, because sometimes your mind will go to the absolute worst. And the probability of that absolute worst happening is probably slim to none. The next thing you want to do is start with the smaller risks. And so if you are super risk averse, don't jump off a cliff. I used to use a thing when I coach. I would say, like, are you the risk taker that's going to look up at the bridge and not even climb up to see what's up there? Are you the type of risk taker that's going to look around, survey, find the safest way to get to the top, and then look over? Or are you the person that's just gonna climb the railing and not only get up to the top, but jump over, right? The jump over, that's the super risk taker. The one who's not even going up on the bridge, that person is super risk averse. But the one who is taking like those calculated safe risks, they're gonna test the tensile strength of the ladder that they create. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But you know, like they're going to be cautious, but they're gonna be willing to try. Then the next thing you wanna do is really trust yourself. The greatest risk in life is the ones that you never take. You know, we can sit and we can be dreamers and we can talk about it, but if you don't bet on yourself, like who will? And I'm not trying to make all of this sound like it's super easy. Like it's hard, it's scary. I have moments of doubt like everyone does. I have really worked to build a community for myself of people who can help, people who I can talk to. You know, there's no ego. I'm super humble. So I'm reaching out to people who I maybe haven't talked to in years, just because I know that they've built a thing, or, you know, doing stuff similar, like what's the partnership we can forge. I've been a networking machine, which those who know me well know that my key networking strategy is to go stand in a corner by myself and wait for people to come talk to me. But over the past month, my key networking strategy has been to get up and get in the middle of the conversations and talk to all of the people in the room, because you never know what opportunity is going to be there. And I actually was in a room and walked up and talked to somebody, which is really challenging for me. And it turns out like he works in the governor's office and he's doing some work with small business. And then that becomes a really great connection. So, you know, it's pushing yourself beyond your limits, and it eventually becomes comfortable. I am like signed up for so many networking things at this point, and like community involvement types of things and fundraisers, and I actually enjoy it. We're doing the Rise Women in Leadership Conference on Tuesday, so I'm all excited about that. And not just because I bought a bunch of really cool branded stuff, because I love branding is so important, but like I'm going to be able to connect with like leaders here in the community. I'm giving 5 assessments away, complimentary to people who entered the giveaway. So I'm able to give back in that way as well. And so, when you're thinking about taking risks, when you're thinking about how you're going to grow to the next thing, and this does not have to be business ownership. This can be, how do you grow to the next level in your organization? How do you grow as a mom, as a dad, as a leader in your community? Like, when you're thinking about all of those things, be willing to take the risk. And I'm going to just challenge everybody this week to take one small risk, something that would make you feel really uncomfortable, and then share with me, whether it's through LinkedIn, Instagram, email me. It's mboone@boonemanagementgroup.com. I would love to hear from you. Like, what's the risk that you took? And then how'd you feel after, and what was the outcome? Thank you for joining another episode of Moments with Melonie. I am getting so much better at doing these. I know that I'll do them and then I disappear for a while and then I come back, but I'm trying to be more consistent, and then I'm partnering with an amazing editor now. That's the thing that takes me the longest, is trying to do everything yourself and trying to edit a video when I have zero skills in editing or design. It just takes me hours. And so now that I have a partner, I'll be able to do a little bit more of these and have the time to actually create some really good content. So also, if you are looking to hear about a topic, if there's something on your mind, again, email me, mboone@boonemanagementgroup.com, or reach out LinkedIn, Instagram, or any of those other places. Check out boonemanagementgroup.com to see what we're up to there. And then BeyondTheStudios.com is the publishing company. We're getting ready to publish 2 books. Dig, A Woman's Guide to Discovering Inner Greatness, written by myself and Dr. Chikudo. And then also Lead Like a Hero, which is the next version of Heroic Leadership. So lots of good things going on. It has been a pleasure. If you want to be a guest, let me know. And then just have a great week. Take a risk, put yourself out there. And then let me know how everything turns out.